Wow, what a big this meeting is being recorded. That's very good. Welcome, everybody, to another session of the online 2021 online KBHC experience and offering of Cormont music and our gift to the horn community. This morning, we have another warm-up session led by Bernhard Scully, former member of Canadian Brass, Associate Professor of Horn at the University of Illinois, and Artistic Director of Cormont Music, as well as Jesse McCormick, second horn of the Cleveland Orchestra, horn professor at Baldwin Wallace Conservatory, and associate artistic director of Cormont Music. I am your moderator, Chris Williams, former academist of the Karajan Academy of the Berlin Philharmonic, and a former student of Bernard's. Now, before we jump into the session, just a few Zoom housekeeping items so that we can hear the presenters. We've muted everyone here. Please stay muted for the duration unless one of our presenters asks you directly to unmute. If you click on the Participants tab at the bottom of your screen, you should see a participant list pop up with your name at the top. If the name associated with your Zoom account is different from your own first and last name, we ask you to change that so that we can know who we are talking to. And lastly, if you click on Chat, also located at the bottom of the Zoom window, should see a chat box appear. Comments posted here are affected by a drop-down menu located directly above the text box. Depending on your selection, your comments may be viewed either by everyone here or by individual participants. Each time you enter a comment here, be sure to double check your selection so that your comment is seen by your intended audience. And with all of that out of the way, I'll go ahead and hand the session off to Bernard and Jesse. Take it away.
Thank you so much, Chris. Hey, Jesse. Hey, everybody.
Good morning, Bernard. Thank you, Chris. Glad that you all could join us again this morning for day 2 of our warm-up series in the online KBHC experience. Now, before we get started, Bernard and I wanted to make sure that after last night's session that we highlight some of our evening sessions that we have planned for the rest of this week. So I'm going to run through that list really quickly before we start our warm-ups. This evening, be sure to join us for a YouTube live event. It will be our faculty recital night. Like we did last year, you'll be able to chat live and make comments and participate and interact with each other online. So be sure to join us for that. On Wednesday evening, we have a session titled Core Values, KBHC Alumni in Military Bands. And that will be run by Sergeant First Class J.G. Miller, who many of you may have met last night or during his session yesterday. And he'll be joined by Staff Sergeant Cecilia Bitgen, Musician Second Class Arthur Robinson, and Staff Sergeant Abby Martin. So they'll be discussing life in military bands and a lot more than that. So please join us for that. Thursday, we'll be having a session called Teacher Talk, led by a very special guest of the camp, Douglas Hill. He is a faculty alumni for us and a former teacher of Bernard and a master pedagogue. And he will be running a session all talking about, how to be a great teacher and addressing your questions. So for all of our teachers,
I think he was also a teacher of Lynn Baird, Pat Hughes, and Jeff Agrell.
That's right.
He's like the teacher of everyone.
Yeah, he's definitely cornered the market on our faculty. So he is a teacher's teacher. So for anyone out there who teaches privately or professionally, you won't want to miss that session. Our panelists for that session will be Douglas Hill will be moderating that. He'll have Jeffrey Agrell, Randy Gardner, Dr. Natalie Douglas Grana, Patrick Hughes, Sergeant First Class J.G. Miller, and Dr. Peggy Moran. So we highly recommend that. Friday night, we'll be featuring good friends of KBHC, the Houghton Horns, in Houghton Horns Presents. Our panelists for that will be Dennis Houghton, Karen Houghton, and Derek Wright. Houghton Horns, for those of you who may not know, is one of America's premier horn retailers for accessories and horns, and they distribute instruments of all kinds, and so we look forward to presenting them on Friday. And lastly will be Saturday, our final session of the entire week. It's our ice cream social Q&A with KBHC faculty. The panelists will be Bernard and myself. along with Sergeant First Class J.G. Miller, Dr. Peggy Moran, and Dr. James Nagus. So that will be kind of a week in review, Q&A, lighthearted, discussing all the highlights of what we experienced, and definitely bring your favorite flavor of ice cream. So we highly recommend it. So that's the rundown for our evening sessions this week. With that, we can jump right into our warm-up. Today, there's going to be a lot less talking than yesterday and a lot more playing. So
Exactly. Well, let's get to it, starting with our stretching.
Sweet.
All right, you all know the drill. We're going to start with our twisting. Do 10 twists. See each time if you can go a little further. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, now we do a fold over for 10 counts. As far as you can go, don't hurt yourself. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, now we're gonna do our side bends. You can clasp your hands. I'm gonna pull now to my left, bending this way. 10 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Very good. Now the other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, now we're going to get all that lactic acid moved out of our body, the upper body that tends to build up. We're going to do our arm rotations backwards at first. 10 of these. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And now forwards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And lastly, our shoulder shrugs. We're going to do backwards first. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And forwards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you, Bernhard. I especially needed those shoulder shrugs today. Definitely feeling the buildup up here. So awesome. Okay, that leads us right into our breathing. So we're going to build upon our breath builder that we did yesterday, add a few more counts, and I'm going to quickly introduce you guys to capacity breath and what that's all about. So what we're going to start with is 3 in, 3 out, 4 in, 4 out, then 5s, then 6s. Then we're going to do 3 in, 6 out, 4 in, 8 out, and so on and so forth. This is all about, again, just expanding our awareness of our lung capacity and of our breath control, right? So we'll breathe in, especially for the 3 and 6. Breathe in over 3, and then slowly exhale over 6. If you joined us yesterday, you could put your hand up like this and inhale with a nice, good O syllable. The idea is that you're getting an open throat, O for open, okay? And you should hear a nice, low whooshing sound. All right, you want to avoid any high-pitched or louder noises like, okay, that means restriction. That means the air is hitting something. We want to avoid any restriction. Okay, so let's do 3 in, 3 out. I'll count us off, and we'll get started. Okay, here we go. 3 in, 3 out. 1, ready, go. Good. 4 in, 4 out. 1, 2, ready, go. 5 in, 5 out, 4 for nothing. 1, 2, ready, go. Great. And 6 in, 6 out, 4 for nothing. 1, 2, ready, go. Good. Nice deep breath in and out. Cool. Getting some good airflow this morning already. So we're going to vary what we just did and extend our exhalation by doubling it. Okay, 3 in, 6 out, 4 in, 8 out, and so on and so forth. I will count us off 3 for nothing. All right, so here we go. 1, ready, go. Good. 4 in, 8 out, 4 for nothing. 1, 2, ready, go. Good. 5 and 10, 4 for nothing. 1, 2, ready, go. Awesome. And 6 and 12, our last one, 4 for nothing. 1, 2, ready, go. Good. Nice deep breath in and out. Okay, so you may have noticed as we were doing these counting exercises, right, as you're breathing in, you're starting to explore what full capacity is like, right? That nice full open feeling like I was talking about yesterday where you're filling your lungs up like a balloon, okay? The capacity breathing brings more awareness to that sensation. So what we're aiming to do is really get to 100% of our capacity, our absolute fullest, absolute the most air that you could possibly get into your body in a comfortable way, all right? So no breathing injuries here yet, okay? But the idea is, again, expand on all sides, all right? Like a balloon on all sides. And when you get to 100% while keeping the throat open, you're gonna take 2 sips to get to 101 and 102%, all right? So, of course, that's not possible, but that's what we want to be aiming for. And so when I say keeping the throat open, that locking mechanism that we have in the back of our throats, that we want to keep that completely open. So this is like suspending our openness at 100%. So it's going to look like this. Okay, so you notice how I took 2 sip breaths on top of that, right? If you're able to take in more air on those sips, it means that you truly weren't at 100%, all right? But that's okay, this is part of the exercise. So I will demonstrate one more time just so that we're clear. All right, let's try, let's do 3 of those as a group, okay? Big capacity breath, here we go as a group. Okay, 2 more of those. All right, deep breath in to 100%. Here we go. And the last one, let's use our hand technique again to make sure we're nice and open. Getting to 100%. Here we go. Awesome. Nice deep breath in and out. That may be a new sensation for some of you, all right? This is all about expanding our awareness of our breathing. Tomorrow we'll build upon that now that we have gotten awareness of what our full feels like. Tomorrow we'll find out what our empty feels like. All right.
Awesome, Jesse. Okay, so now we're going to get our first notes of the day. Always taking those big breaths for every exercise. Make the breath part of the exercise. So we're going to do a little free buzz just wherever it's easy. Remember, Jesse and my free buzz is very different. So wherever it feels easiest is okay. Like this. That's my easy free buzz. So you find yours. I do the same thing on the mouthpiece, just real relaxed. Think of the big breath, the exhalation. Maybe next, just blow nice warm air through the horn. Think of the seashell sound. And next, we're going to just speed up our air enough to make the sound emerge. And we're going to spend some time falling in love with our sound at the beginning of the day. So just note what you like, note what things that maybe are not to your liking, and just gravitate towards what you like. Try it a couple times. And then when you're doing this on your own, just feel free to spend as much time as you need with it. Honestly, in my own personal practice, I don't usually move on to anything else until I really center and am happy with my sound. Otherwise, I feel like I'm kind of going backwards. So spend the time you need, and now we can move on to Ho Do Do.
Excellent. Okay. So Ho Do Do builds upon our first notes of the day. All right. One of the great ways I think of introducing ourselves to the instrument is just air and buzz, right? One of Arnold Jacobs' favorite quotes of mine is wind and song, right? They just go hand in hand so easily. This is air and buzz is very similar. So Ho Do Do is the type of articulation we're going to use in this exercise. So we're going to start at quarter note equals 60. The first note is a breath attack with a ho, all right? And the next two are simple do's. Just the tongue rides on the air. It doesn't intersect it too harshly, all right? It rides on top of the air. Ho, do, do. Blow through your notes rather than at them, okay? I'll set quarter note equals 60. We recommend trying this on the F horn, but it's not a requirement. Okay, here we go. We'll take 4 counts in between each double bar. Okay, the first one, here we go on Ho Do Do. 1, 2, ready. C sharp. B. E flat. G natural. A flat. A natural. B flat. B natural. Last one, C. Great. Excellent. Now, before we move on to the song of the day, I will address a question in the chat from Charles. Charles asks, any recommendations for pacing our breathing on the breathing exercises? And that's a really great question. As when we're trying to bring awareness to our capacity and to our breathing, pacing is definitely one of those issues, right? So over 3 counts, if I'm breathing over 3 counts from 0 to 100%, I can definitely do, right? I just made it to 100% in 1.5 counts. But the idea is to try to pace your inhalation, try to gauge, where you're going to go from 0% to 100% over 3 counts or 5 counts or 7 counts or however many it is. A visualization that came to mind for me is like, if you've ever left the car, if you've ever watched your fuel gauge when it's getting filled up, right? You know that tank is filling up with gas, and slowly that fuel gauge is rising as the tank gets more and more full. That's the way you want to think of pacing your air. And the more that you do it, and the more that you're aware of it, the better you'll get at it. The capacity breathing is going to help us with that, understanding what full, and then also learning what empty is tomorrow is going to help us with some pacing. So we'll continue to address that as we do breathing exercises. But that'll take us on to Song of the Day.
Thanks, Jesse. That is a great question and a great answer. I remember one of the things Arnold Jacobs also said is, we don't play by air, we play by sound. So even if you don't have as big of an air capacity, like Jesse, you're a bigger person than me. You probably have another liter of air than I do. So I have to figure out ways for myself to become efficient so I can, play long phrases. But it's okay because it actually doesn't take that much air to make a vibration. So I think a large part of this, even getting a little further, is just we want to become aware of how we gauge ourselves. Like what our capabilities are. Yesterday we were talking about these expansive long tones and things. There's a lot of ways we can figure out what are our basic capabilities, and then we start to push those things. So that's a really good question. All right, well, song of the day. We want to get to some music. It's always nice to play some music, connect to music, since that is the real goal here. So my theme of lullabies from around the world, I found this lovely lullaby called Aurora Mi Niño. So we're going to sing it. You can sing it on la, solfege, or if you know the words. I don't know the words. Here we go. La 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 la. It's a really nice song. It's a nice lullaby. Then we're going to buzz it on the mouthpiece the same way we sang it. Okay, let's do it, everybody. 1, 2, ready? the things I tell my students. When you buzz on the mouthpiece, you want to have that Carnegie Hall standard. You know, you want to have the best standard for pitch, rhythm, musicality, quality of sound on the mouthpiece. You know, so really pay attention. Use a drone or something if you're, or a piano if you're not quite getting the notes. Okay, let's play it on the horn now. Ready? 1, 2, ready? Yeah. And so for create, I mean, a really basic way of creating is if you want to transpose it into a different key, like just do it in E horn, right? Or E flat. Just start moving it around. You can even turn it into sort of a beautiful sounds exercise if it interests you. Could be a very interesting way to build your range with a melody. So, okay, moving on to the free buzz builder, we're just going to add a little bit to what we did yesterday. We're going to take the tonic note, the C, and it's going to become the leading tone as we kind of build this up a little bit. So, okay. So again, the free buzz, just do the best you can. If this is too high or too low for you, just buzz wherever it feels comfortable. It doesn't really matter where you start this. The main thing is maybe try to build it wherever you can start. So that's the C. Molto tenuto, sostenuto, the way we've been doing our mouthpiece. This is what it sounds like. Starting to get a little bit of a workout here. If you do this long enough, you'll feel pretty tired. Once again. All right, ready, everybody? 1, 2, ready? Okay, we go to our buzzing sirens.
Great, thank you. Oh man, that one is so hard for me. The free buzz builder. Like even now, man, it's like one of those things. I could never debut that in public.
You say that. I don't believe you, because then you like do it and it's like better than everybody.
Not on this one. That's really...
I don't know, man. I don't believe you.
Okay, well maybe I'll get brave later this week and show you my true free buzz weakness. Okay, so that takes us into buzzing sirens. This is on the mouthpiece. Okay, so yesterday we did the first 2 measures as printed in this packet. We're going to add now a G octave. For me, that's going to be more difficult as well in terms of maintaining a nice, even siren controlled all the way up and all the way back down. Why that's more difficult for me personally is because my break used to be around G. And so that G, low G area is kind of like I don't know, that's scary territory, right? Why I say used to be is because it was very defined. It was between A flat and G. And I worked on my break a lot to create more of a range. I have a break range now. So this actually crosses right through my break range. So we'll be starting on C. That's our starting pitch. Okay. So we're just going to bend up all the way to the top and back down. I'll show you really quickly what this is going to sound like. So blow through your line, not at it. Okay, let's do this as a group on C. Here we go. Nice, good quality breath. Good. Now we're going to start on G. G, that's our starting pitch, and we're going to go up an octave All right, nice big quality breath. Excellent. All right. So we will build upon our buzzing sirens tomorrow.
I know, Jace, that's some pretty good sounding buzzing, man. It's pretty awesome. So, all right. So I am going to be doing the overtone series now, and what we're doing with this is over the couple of days is we're kind of expanding the range. If you notice, all the exercises kind of reflect a general range as we're building, and by the end of the week, hopefully get pretty close to the full range of the horn. So it's kind of a pretty big spread. So remember the idea on this exercise, we're still going for sound, we're taking the big breath, and we are bumping these notes into place, which means that we're using our air maximally. You don't want to try to finagle and force with the face. We're trying to teach our face to just respond to the air, and the air to do as much work as possible. So again, the bumping quality. You hear that kind of pushing from one shelf to the next, kind of going for that. So put the metronome on. You can do whatever pace you feel is comfortable for you. I'll put it on 60 for now. I'll have to increase it as we expand the range though over the couple days. Okay, here we go. Going up to the E now on the open horn. 1, 2, ready? That include just one lower note there. We're going to eventually go down to low C. Let's try that once again on fingering 2. Ready? 1, 2, ready? And one thing I didn't mention yesterday, but I wrote it down, and I should mention it today, is the idea of half whistling to help us with this. Everyone knows what whistling is. Half whistling is just kind of doing that same sensation, except not the full-blown whistle. It's almost like keeping the sound in the mouth. You've probably all done it, whether you know it or not. But with a half whistle, one of the reasons this is pretty effective is because it shows us what the tongue does syllable-wise as we begin to ascend and then descend in the range. And that's pretty much the same as what has to happen on the horn to center the notes. So if I go up in this little series, try that. That's pretty much exactly what's happening in my mouth as I play on the horn. So try that out as you begin to try these little exercises. The next one, going in eighth notes again. It's a little bit faster. So everybody try it. 1, 2, ready? Good, and let's also do fingering 2 in this one. 1, 2, ready? Okay, and you can, of course, explore all the other fingerings if you want, and the B-flat fingerings too. And lastly, with these arpeggios, the broken arpeggio. So adding a little bit to what we did yesterday, it sounds something like this. flexibility with this one. So everybody try it. 1, 2, ready? So you all can explore more of the other fingerings. We should move on for today to the continuing to build our lip trill as well, which I really want to do that for you guys because we have so many questions on it sometimes. So again, quarter equals 60. I know it's super slow, but there's a reason it's so slow. So bear with us. What the difference is, I'm not going to do the whole thing for you right now. We'll do it together. But the difference with this one is we're adding triplets after the eighth notes. So at a certain point, it's so we're just moving one more subdivision, and that's the key with the lip trill, or the, as I wrote, adjacent harmonic slurring, which is by Jeff Agrell, by the way. I shouldn't credit myself. He was the one that came up with that. Is that you're going to gain the most control by all the little micro subdivisions you add. If you try to go from like the half notes to the full-blown lip trill, chances are of doing it are very low. But if you keep building these little incremental subdivisions, that's how you build into the control of the flourish of the lip trill. So let's all try it. Let's start back at the whole notes. Here we go. It's on F horn 1, 2. Hopefully that's an easy one. If you don't like that one, you can pick a different fingering. I think that's one of the easier ones, honestly. It's pretty resonant, pretty stable, but not too high. 1, 2, ready? Yeah, I always feel pretty good after that. So give it a shot. And one more thing about that is to do it really, really well, especially as you get a little faster, you're going to have to start moving your air faster. You know, that's the key also with successful lip trill, is it's not just about the face, it's about the movement of the air. You can almost call them air trills by the end of them. So anyways, smooth air movement.
Great, thank you for that, Bernhard. You used a word that I really appreciate, which is control. And some participants out there might be looking at what we're doing today and yesterday and say, wow, this is really easy, like baby horn stuff. I don't want to play whole notes or half notes. I want to play 128th notes up to high Z's. I mean, that's what I eventually want to do. I want to be able to play Strauss 2 up an octave at double tempo. What the basis of our warm-up here is doing is that we're starting from a place of control, and that's how you get better on the horn. I mean, that's how you get better on any instrument, right? You want to take your playing right to that point where you can control it effectively, then work from there to challenge yourself. But if you start playing solos at a tempo faster than you can play them, then you're learning how to do it incorrectly, right? This reminds me of a story. I'll try to move on quickly, but my teacher in middle school and high school, Sally Ann Wilson, she went to Juilliard and studied with James Chambers. And I remember she related a story, and I might not be getting exact details right, but it was something to the effect of, she walked into her first lesson thinking, I finally arrived at Juilliard and I'm ready to play the horn's hardest repertoire. And he basically said, yeah, but can you play a G whole tone beautifully? She's like, and he's like, that's what you'll be working on your first week in school, and it's like the idea of, what you want to start from a place, can you play one note with a beautiful, wonderful round tone, then build from there. Now, I'm not trying to give you all a complex because, I know that horn players are neurotic enough, but just that concept of control. Okay, let's move on to smooth air movement. Okay, let's see. I'm going to get our quarter note equals 80. This is all about getting our air blowing through our line, right? So our metronome marking is going to be 80. It's going to sound about like this. Good. One airstream, one line of notes. Then we're going to progress down the line as is printed. We're not going to do all of it, but we'll do maybe 4 of these or so. So I will count us off for nothing. Here we go. 1, 2. F sharp. F natural. E. Let's do 2 more on E flat. Last one on D. Good. So, yep, smooth air movement is intended to warm up exactly that. Our nice, smooth, easy, warm air from a controlled place. Okay, that takes us into our stretcher exercise that we didn't do yesterday.
Thanks, Jesse. Yep, I'm sorry I didn't get to it yesterday. So again, my break is essentially everyone has them. There's nothing to be ashamed about. Maybe if you don't have one, that's you're the only human. But it basically is when you shift your embouchure, like to go from one range to the next. And most people have multiple breaks, actually. You may not know it. It's basically just when you do a shift and a syllable shift as well. So mine is between a C and a D flat, B area. But wherever your break is, you might do some research and some examination where it is. That's my major shift. This exercise really helped me to sort of iron it out. Like the break will never go away, but we can work in a way that kind of smooths it maximally so it disguises it. And so that's what this is. It kind of builds downwards, it builds upwards. It's also a good chromatic exercise as well. So basically you do it at a comfortable tempo, whatever you like. And the first part of it is and then if you look to the next page, it goes upwards. So you can hear it in my, today my break is coming through, isn't it? It's just, I got to work on it. So then you put it together in this next part of it. It just begins to work up and down that break. And the last part, you put it together even quicker. So something like that. We don't have to spend any more time on it today. You can all try that on your own. It is a little tricky at first to learn. It's the chromatic fingerings. But once you get used to it, It shouldn't be bad. And you might try to stay on the F horn. Like a lot of this stuff, I think the F horn makes it a little more challenging. So that's my recommendation. Anyways, we can move on.
Awesome. Thanks, Bernhard. Yeah, that, like you said, a break is it's likely in a different place for many different individuals. I had heard that Howard Wall, who recently retired as fourth horn in New York Philharmonic, said that he had like 6 breaks. They were like all over the range. So yeah, break work is definitely necessary. Okay, that takes us into our beautiful sounds that we built yesterday. Okay, we're going to expand that exercise today. Again, we're not going to play all of these lines, but it'll give you a good idea of where we're going to go with this exercise. So, beautiful sound exercise warms up exactly that, a beautiful sound, right? I'm guessing that that's why most, if not all of us, chose to play the horn, is because we were immediately drawn to the unique sound that this instrument provides. And I know it's one of the reasons why I chose it. So in this, we've got our smooth air, right? We're building upon our smooth air movement that we've done before. So we're blowing our air through the line. Spin your sound and your air so that it's warm and active and always going somewhere, okay? So this is where you're taking that beautiful horn sound that's in your head and attempting to get it to come out your bell, okay? So something like this, just up and over, nice and easy. Remember with the 2 whole notes, the upper and the lower note, that you never want to sit on these notes. You always want them to be going to somewhere and coming from somewhere. And that means it can be going from lesser volume to more volume, or it can be going from more volume to lesser volume. That's all fine. Just make sure that you're doing something with it to get it down the road, okay? So let's see, what tempo do we want to do this today? 80 is a little fast. Let's try 65. Yeah, that seems good. So we're going to do quarter equals 65. Now on this one, we're starting on C, right? What I do is I build into my ranges with beautiful sounds. So after C, we're going to do D flat, then we're going to do B natural, then we're going to do D natural, then B flat. So as you can see, we're starting to build into our ranges, both high and low as we go. All right? Very, very methodical, stepwise way to get into our more extreme ranges, which you'll find later in the week. Okay, so we're going to do this at quarter note equals 65. Try to do it in one breath if you can. Nice, big, high-quality air. All right, but if you can't, you can breathe after the top whole note. That's totally fine. So I'll count us off 4 for nothing. All right, need to move my metronome so I can see my music. Here we go. 1, 2, okay. On D flat, 2, 3. B natural, 2, 3. D natural. B flat. E flat. Now, this is also, as you can see, a good exercise for your key signatures. Some of you might be saying, what, 5 sharps? Oh my gosh, what are they? Okay, good way to exercise your key signatures. So we will continue to build on this in the coming days. We only had 3 more lines, probably could have gotten through them, but that's okay. That'll bring us on to our chromatics and our major and minor scales.
Thanks so much, Jesse. Yeah, good old Western notation. Gotta love it, right? 6 sharps. Okay, so the chromatics, just expanding on what we did yesterday, we're gonna do a little more. I may not even do the whole thing, but 3 times through, and you can choose the speed. In the end, this is something you want to kind of get quite rapid, actually. So you can start at a, or even, and in the end, you know, that kind of a thing. It's really good for the fingers, really good for the face. Try to do this exercise kind of a pianissimo, mezzo piano quality. Let's try it. Let's do like, I don't know, 80 or so. Sorry, I mentioned them. My phone just stopped. Dee da da dee da da da, like that. And we're not going to do all the fingerings today, but you can choose whether you want to do F horn only or B flat horn only, or just do a combination of both to test yourself. Let's do the first little part and 3 times through. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Already messed that one up. Where am I? Okay, now let's do the next one on the F sharp. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Okay, and now we're just going to put the 2 of them together at 170. Let's try it all the way up and down. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Good, and of course you can add articulation to that. This can be an articulation study as well if you prefer. And lastly, we will do our major and minor core scales, with the core meaning the first 3 notes of the scale. And there are only 4 combinations of what that can be, and those are at the end appendix. Or actually, well, sorry, this one, actually, I wrote this. This one, we're doing both. We're doing the major and the minor. So each one's going to be doing that, and the other 2 are at the end for you to choose. So let's put it on, no, let's do with our 80 actually, that's kind of nice. So I'm just going to articulate maybe on a ta. Just getting us a little bit of that minor quality. Minor scales are very important to practice as well. Usually they are neglected, sorely neglected by myself or anybody. So here we go. 1, 2, ready. G, 2, ready. D, 2, ready. A, 2, ready. E, 2, ready. B, 2, ready. Moment to turn the page. We're almost done. Extra points if you guys use only B flat fingerings for this, for instance. A great way to try that. Okay, now A flat. 1, 2, 3. Now E flat. 2, 3. B flat. 2, 3. F. 2, 3. And there we have all of our major and minor core scales right there, plus some articulation. Anyways, that's it for today, guys. Any questions? We have 3 minutes.
You know, I saw in the chat, let's see, I think Hannah asked a question. She said flats or sharps. And that's interesting because, to me at least, because brass players, I think we always naturally, and woodwind players too, we tend to gravitate towards flat keys. Those tend to feel more comfortable on our instruments. They tend to look better on the page. Going down a half step is a little easier. So I found myself naturally, as I was learning, gravitating towards flat keys instead of sharp keys. Well, I got into the orchestra here, and a friend had a chamber music party where, you know, it's usually a bunch of string players get together and they just read string quartets, and it's really quite amazing to just listen. But I went, and it turned out that at one point they were without a viola, and they were like, "Oh, horn player, you can transpose, right? Can you play a viola part?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, sure. I'll play the viola part." You know, so I'm transposing in tenor clef and like doing these complex calculations in my head. Well, string players prefer sharps because for them on the fingerboard, you know, they just raise it a half step, right? So it's really easy to just go up. So we're playing through all these quartets that I'm reading in tenor clef, and we get to things that have like 6 sharps in the key signature, and I'm transposing in tenor clef, and I'm just like, ah. So it was a good exercise to remind me to work on my sharp keys. So.
It's true. I think, you know, in terms of like these scales, you notice after F sharp, I moved to D flat. And one of the reasons that I did that is you could have gone to C sharp, but C sharp would have had 7 sharps. And then after that, A sharp would have actually had 8 sharps, I think. So it means you start to actually have to compound the sharps upon sharps, which gets really confusing and unnecessary. So that's normally in most key areas. I mean, occasionally you see music in C sharp. I mean, there are some pieces that's actually not uncommon, but it'd be pretty weird to see like A sharp or D sharp, maybe. You know, these are really a lot of sharps. So I might avoid that if you guys are writing music.
Yeah, well, when you can read 6 sharps in tenor clef on horn and transpose that perfectly, then you can officially say you've made it in terms of transposition. I am not there yet.
Oh, dude, but no, you have. I mean, the fact that string players invited you in to play the viola, that you've made it. That's it.
I think they quickly invited me out because I've not been back. So,
like too late.
Yeah. All right. Well, that wraps us up for this morning. Thank you all for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you hopefully tomorrow.
Yeah, thanks, guys. That was a great warm-up. So fun to hear you guys playing. I don't imagine I'll ever be in a situation where transposing in 6 sharps is something I will desire doing. So maybe I should work that into my own warm-up. Thank you guys all for coming today. Please join us in about half an hour, 11:30 Eastern Time, for a session led by Randy Gardner, artist in residence at the Temple University Boyer College of Music and Dance, Professor Emeritus of the University of Cincinnati College Conservatory of Music, second horn, retired of the Philadelphia Orchestra. I'm sure you've all heard of Randy Gardner. His session is titled "A Comprehensive Approach to Achieving Your Horn Playing Goals." And boy, howdy, does that sound like something I would like to do. And finally, this evening, join us on our YouTube channel. You can find that just by searching for Kendall Betts Horn Camp on YouTube at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Our faculty and staff will have a concert there on YouTube. I believe it's all pre-recorded, but it'll be live streamed out. Feel free to sign in with your Google accounts into YouTube so that you can comment and chat with others in real time. In the meantime, please check us out on all of our other social media platforms. You can find us on Facebook by using at KB Horn Camp, and Instagram using @official_KBHC. Anytime you post about us or share something we posted about, please be sure to include the hashtag KBHC 2021 so we can find all of your beautiful posts, all of your pictures, all of your comments, all of your everything, and we can get that sweet, sweet dopamine high, as Nikki has mentioned several times already this week. Finally, you can visit our website, horncamp.org, for any and all information regarding upcoming sessions or future in-person offerings. Thank you guys all so much for joining us this morning, and we hope to see you later today.